Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for all the recent support. We've recently just smashed through 1,500 subscribers and the recent stream support has been insane. My last 400 streams have been the biggest streams I've ever done, and frankly have completely shattered anything I ever expected. Now, during those streams, the biggest question that I'm encountering from you guys is how are you playing in 60 FPS on the Switch? Are you using an emulator? What emulator are you using? Questions along those lines. And the answer is I'm not playing via any of those methods. In fact, I've got a bit of a unique setup, which I'll show you now. So come with me, we'll dive into it, and I'll show you how I get such nice gameplay. Okay, so this is the setup. So I am playing on mobile. Like many of you, using an Android device, and I've got it plugged in here to my Samsung Dex dock. This isn't a Samsung device, I'll get into that in 2 seconds. But as you can see, it's just outputting to my monitor and just copying what the monitor does. Now, if I just open Hunters, it'll fire it up on the monitor here. And this is how I used to play. So this will give me black bars top and bottom, as you can see there, because it's copying the aspect ratio of the device. Now this is perfectly fine. If you guys have got, say, like a Samsung S23, S24, you can plug your device in and it will just do this. You can hook up your monitor via hook up your controller via USB cable, which is what I do, and away you go. However, I want the full 16:9 aspect ratio, and this is the reason I picked up this device. So if I close the game, now this device is called a Red Magic 9 Pro, and on the side here there's this little red switch, and if I flick this, I get this. Now this has put my phone into what's called console mode. I can now use the phone as a touchpad to control a mouse, or I can plug in an external mouse. But if you can see, I've got a bunch of games in here: Pokemon Go, Dolphin Emulator, Disney Speedstorm, and so forth. So I click on Hunters. It will now open Hunters in full 16:9. I also have the ability down here to change the output of power the phone's giving out. So I've got it in its rise mode, which is essentially making it run at its highest speeds, but I could clock that down if I wanted to and drop the CPU and GPU speeds accordingly, depending on what the phone's doing. But as you can see, I now have a full 16:9 output, and this has actually been rendered in 1440p. So what I can do is I can go to my phone, I can jump through some settings here. As you can see, I've got 4K, 1440p or 1080p options. Now, 4K works just fine and it looks pretty nice, but my monitor is 1440p, so I thought to make sure that I'm not dropping any frames and it still looks pretty nice, I've gone for middle of the road, and to be honest with you, 1440p has been absolutely great. So I'll just leave that as it is. But what I can also do, which has been really helpful, and I usually hide it behind my my webcam during the streams, is I can enable some stats, so I can actually see what frames I'm getting, and I can place that wherever I like. So to make sure that gameplay is staying nice and smooth, I can enable a frame counter, which has been really, really helpful to make sure that I'm not dropping frames during games, and obviously ensure there's nothing wrong with the phone. So the phone being the Red Magic 9 Pro, absolutely fantastic buy, to be honest. It's got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in, so the latest and greatest processor from Snapdragon, and it has active cooling. If I actually turn it around on the back here, this is a fan, so it actually stays nice and cool during gameplay. The dock itself does have a built-in fan, but that only works on Samsung devices. I used to use an S23 Ultra, and that kept itself nice and cool, and I played that on the monitor with black borders, and it was absolutely fine, but I went out of my way to buy this because I wanted the best setup possible. Now, I can simply just plug in an Xbox controller, plug that in, it's immediately recognised, hit play, and now let's jump into training. And away we go, and before you know it, we're cracking away in a full console gameplay. So the dock itself is just a USB-C power in. It's got a HDMI out of the back there, which goes to a capture card, then to my monitor. But of course, you could just run it straight to a monitor, and then I have a USB cable because I want as little latency as possible on the Xbox controller. There's also a spare USB port there, which I sometimes plug a wired mouse in so I can navigate menus and stuff a little bit easier. But ultimately, that's the setup. Now, let me jump into like a game here quick, and switch back over to OBS, and I'll show you what a game looks like on this setup. Okay, so we are in the game. So just to quickly go over a couple of things as well, just to show you what my actual in-game settings are. Graphically, I'm at ultra, 60 FPS. Anti-aliasing, I only have off or FX AA. I think that might be an Android thing. I believe iOS gets the option to pick 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, and so on. And then pretty much the same in the menus as well. So let's jump into a game and I'll show exactly what it looks like. Okay, right. Let's get a game in as Reeve then. Using my my favorite skin as well, the Sith Spectre. Let's get these points. But yeah, this plays super nice on this setup. I think of probably playing this game in like the best possible configuration you can. You can definitely play it quite nicely on iPads and emulators and such. But hang on, let's get back up there. But I think this is sort of the best compromise of somewhere in between that sort of console feel and still being able to use it on the go as well. Perfect. Ooh. I know in a bail. Try and get this score if I can. Let's go. Ah. But yeah, this is it plays super smooth. The device doesn't get hot. I previously played on an S23 Ultra, which again, despite the black borders, played very, very smoothly. But after a couple of hours, did start to get quite toasty. But this Red Magic 9 Pro, it's got all the specs in the world to play the game. To be fair, it's probably quite overkill for the game, to be fair. But the active cooling fan does like a really, really good job of keeping it cool. I've had no issues or no frame drops, really. Be careful, I'm going to lose this reef. Ooh. Ah, damn it. Right, we are winning this one, so that's looking good. Let's get them to do a bit more damage, though, ideally. Oh, there's an opportunity. Oh, excellent. But this device as well, given that it's got flagship Android specs, it's got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and like 12 gigs of RAM. The mod of it that I've got, which is the 12 gig of RAM variant, is only like £579 at the time of writing. So you compare that to other S20, like the S24 Ultra or other phones that have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It's an absolute bargain. The camera is definitely not as good as those devices, for example. And the screen's also probably not quite as nice. But if you're looking to play games on your phone, I don't think there's a better option out there, to be honest with you. I guess a comparable device would be like the Asus ROG phone, but again, I don't know that you can accomplish what I've got here with the full 16:9 out, which to me is like an absolutely invaluable feature. And as I say, I bought it specifically for this game. How are we doing? Not terrible. Let's go. But yeah, you should definitely check it out. Obviously, I've got a capture card in the middle of my setup capturing this, but that's obviously not a requirement for you to achieve the same thing. And it's honestly, if you're looking to play some serious Star Wars Hunters, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. But anyway, that's how we're done. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any more questions about sort of my Hunters setup, or maybe if you're interested in my like controller settings and stuff, drop a comment down below. Leave a like to let me know you're enjoying it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.